this episode, we're going to touch on something. As a 33-year-old man, I've had a few relationships, 3 long-term relationships. I touched on the Johnsons already in a previous episode. I believe it was episode 10, the Johnsons. Check it out. And in this episode, I'm going to touch on another relationship that really was a centerfold for a majority of my 20s, I guess you could say. And a huge part and a huge effect on the trajectory of who the fuck I am today as a lover, as a person, as everything, because he really caught me at a time when I was really evolving into who I wanted to be. And I don't talk about him a lot because he's somebody who I really don't have any connection with whatsoever. Don't know where he lives. Don't know if he even lives. You know what I mean? But it's something I do feel like I do have to talk about. I can't talk about Mikey and not talk about this. I haven't touched on Mikey yet. That's going to come in a future episode. But this one right now, we finna talk about something. Yeah. It's time we talk about Shaq. Let's get into some shit. Linkinwitrobby. So dude hit me in my DM, right? And I'm just like, all you niggas freaked out, and that's just all it is. First off, girl, fuck him. And you are now listening to Linkinwitrobby. Y'all, honestly, truly, how y'all been? Welcome back, y'all. Welcome the fuck back. Welcome. Bring it on in. It's your boy Robbie. I'm back again. As I said in the intro. How's everybody been? I know I can say for myself, I've been pretty cool, pretty tame for the most part. Last weekend, or this past weekend, I had a semi-ball. Nothing too crazy, nothing too out of control. I had fun. I went to a little game night on Friday night, came outside, played with some friends, spades, and really just got a chance to just socialize and just get out of my little funk sometimes. Sometimes I could be in a little funk. I could be a little bit on edge or frustrated about whatnot. And I had a good time. Was it Friday night? Maybe it was Saturday night. What did I do Friday night? I didn't do shit Friday night. Okay. Well, Saturday night, I had a good time. I don't remember. I had fun. Needless to say, I got drunk again. Yes, I did. I had a good time. So it was a good time when I fucking get drunk, baby. That's what it was. Friday. Why can't I remember it? Oh my gosh, you guys. So Friday night, I had a friend of mine that I haven't really hung out with in a long time. He's married now. So the friendship kind of like distanced itself a little bit because, couples. And it brings up my I hate to start the pod so early with this. Oh my gosh. But why is it when, how can I put this? You know how when you come around certain couples, they have such a toxic air about them that the energy is just never right. Like, you're honestly on edge the entire time because you don't want to say nothing that's going to explode anything or set anybody off, or you don't want to bring up the wrong thing that you don't know they've been arguing about behind closed doors. You don't know anything. You don't know what's going on, so you don't want to trigger shit. So you're sitting there as a friend, like, ready to be your normal self, and you can sense the tension in the air. You can sense the alcohol waning, like the alcohol literally changing the vibe. Now, mind you, I got there, they were already drinking. So I'm hanging out with my homeboy, his husband, and his husband's friend, right? Cool. Sound like it could be a good vibe. We reminiscing, talking, laughing, just joking about all type of stuff. And out of nowhere, his husband just starts flipping out about, I'm not even sure what he was flipping about. Like, he was flipping out about, I guess, the fact that he assumed we were talking about somebody his husband had been with, my homeboy had been with. But that wasn't even the case. We were just talking about random things that happened when we worked together at 7-Eleven. Shit that had nothing to do with any fucking, nothing to do with nobody he linked with or nothing like that. But his husband was so triggered by every little thing, and he just kept snapping and going off, and the vibe just kept getting killed, in my opinion. I could not even relax and smoke my blunts in peace because it was just like, oh my God. And it just really reminded me of the times as when I was in a couple or when I was in a relationship, and we would be around certain friends or a group of people, and well, I sound like a pimple, a group of people who would not want to be around us because we would kill the mood. We would kill the vibe or kill the energy with whatever bullshit we got going on at home that we're bringing to the forefront. And that makes me wonder, like, why do couples do that? I feel like everyone has that friend that has a boyfriend that when you get around them, you're like, oh shit, here goes the bullshit. One of them situations where you sitting in the back seat and they driving and they just arguing and whatever, and it's just so much chaos, and you're like, how did I get the fuck in this? I have nothing to do with this, and somehow I am in the middle of a war. A cold war, a standoff at times when they're just quiet and you could tell there's issues and there's tension, and you're sitting there just like, bro, I just came to have a fucking good time. Don't you hate that shit? Bro, I despise that shit, and it happens all the time to me, and it's almost like, how can I put it? It's kind of scary how the fuck that can happen in a split of a second, you know? But yeah, that was already weird. You know what I mean? Like I told you, Saturday night I had a good time at the game night or whatever. But Friday night before then, I just got drunk and was kind of just like, okay, ready to go home because you guys are arguing too much. And it's a lot of beef in here. And it just rubs off on me the wrong way. I don't want to be around that. I don't like angry drunks. I don't like emotional drunks. I don't like when I come around somebody, when they get drunk, they get turned up. I just want to drink and have fun. Don't use your drinking as a time for therapy. Do that at home. You know, I may drink a lot of wine, right? When I'm in my feelings and I want to drink, I sit at home, I put on my old 90s R&B, 80s R&B, classic soul, all that good stuff, listen to my music, drink my wine, smoke my weed, and carry the fuck on. I don't be around nobody. I don't bring nobody else down with my bullshit. I don't use my drinking for that. Drinking is for relaxation, relieving stress, and for me to relax and let go of my inhibitions in my Natasha Bedingfield voice. You know what I mean? Like, release your fucking inhibitions. That's what it's for you to have a good time and just let loose. Not for you to be in the corner on the floor, Indian style, crying about how nobody loves you and you want to fight the mailman, all kind of stupid shit that you should not be having to go through just because you're drinking. I think that just says something of a deeper issue. So whenever I get around people who get drunk and they immediately go to the emotional place or the angry place or the sad place or any of that shit, I just chuck it up as, all right, so I won't be hanging out with y'all no more, or I won't be drinking with y'all no more, because y'all take y'all liquor and y'all make this into a Dr. Phil session, and I'm not here for that, because I'm escaping my problems, not lunging into someone else's problem. That's just asinine to me, and I refuse to partake in the nonsense. You feel me? Like, I don't want to be a part of nothing that's gonna give me a headache, get me in my feelings, or in any way offend me. You know what I mean? Because my temper is baby size. Like, I have a very quick, short temper. It is not something I'm proud of. So when I am drinking, I like to be in good vibes and good energy, because drinking or not, sober or not, I don't have too much grace for a bunch of bullshit. So if you're going to be coming at me with bullshit or approaching me with nonsense and it ain't making no sense to me, I'm finna dip, because your nonsense gonna meet my nonsense. And my nonsense is sober. My nonsense is more strategic. My nonsense is a little bit more, how can I put this? Direct. You feel me? When I hit, I hit. When I attack, I attack. There's no confusion. There's no misleading going on. Everybody's aware what the fuck is going on once I attack. So I try to stay away from the type of vibe. And when people are always that type of vibe whenever they're drinking, I'm just like, okay, so you have a lot of issues and deep-rooted anger and things you haven't resolved with yourself. and others. So maybe you should not drink until you resolve those issues, because if this is your moment to bring that out, you should do that at home. Go cry at home. Go cuss somebody out at home. Do that at home. Or if you are at home, don't invite nobody over so you can be a part of that bullshit, because I'm gonna leave and y'all be like, why you leaving? And I'm be like, because the vibe dead. So as you know, I went home. The fuck, I'm not gonna sit over there and be aggravated and frustrated and stressed out. I came home, laid my drunk ass in my bed, and went to sleep. And went out the next night to have game night with some friends that was a little bit more positive, a lot more fun, less stress, less aggravation, less headache. Hung out with them, had a good time. Got home 6 o'clock that morning. Like, that's how much fun I had. I wasn't in no rush to get home. I wasn't trying to get away from nobody. I wasn't like, oh my God, this is giving me a headache. It's irritating. I wasn't having none of that. It was a good fucking time. And it was all I could do because everybody else was in fucking New Orleans for the weekend for the Red Dress Run, which I had a friend who was going to be there, and I was going to go with him and take a flight. I was going to go. We were going to turn up the whole time. I didn't have the time and didn't feel like prioritizing looking for a red dress, figuring out what I'm going to wear, how I'm going to wear it. I've never wore a dress in my life. So I wasn't ready to try to conquer that damn hill, that battle at the last minute when I have other priorities. On top of that, there was so much other things going on that I just needed to focus on those things. It's so many things I'm taking care of behind the scenes for myself and my livelihood and my, just my life, that I had to take away sometimes from social activities. So I have to do stuff smaller, like, a little game night or hang out with some friends. I have to do like that stuff. I can't be flying across the country to go to New Orleans just to go wear a red dress, donate $10 and shake my ass. That's not the most important thing for me. Now, why every year this happens, it brings up so many discussions of people being frustrated and being like, I would never date somebody in a red dress, or, oh my God, my top wearing a red dress, and blah, 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 blah. Mind you, this is all supposed to be for charity. I don't remember when they decided this was a pride event. This is for charity. I don't know why tops, bottoms, and all that is even being brought up. I don't know why it matters about if the guy's wearing a red dress in New Orleans or not. It's supposed to be a charity. It's supposed to be, you're supposed to be wearing. It's not a gay thing. This has nothing to do with us. Like, that's the crazy thing about it. It's not a gay thing. So I don't know how we have claimed this as ours and are arguing about this as if this is even our, baby, this ain't even our order. We didn't even order this food, baby. Send this back. Like, why are we tripping about this? Like, y'all making a big deal about shit that ain't got shit to do with y'all. Not a soul. But you're arguing about it. And it's just the gays, girl. The gays, they argue about everything. They'll argue about if the sky was blue or gray, just like we was arguing about if that dress was blue or gold back in the day. It's just what we do as humans. And in certain divisions and communities, we find different things to focus our attention on and argue for the moment. So that was a good little thing to see being debated about or discussed, I guess you could say, or alluded to on the timeline. A few other things that went going on. Let me see what else was going on. What else is going on, y'all? So remember how I told you Karma had hit jail bay and had his ass locked up a few weeks ago, or a few pods ago? I can't remember exactly when I said it or talked about it. He's been in there for at least a week or some change, I think. So it maybe was just last episode, possibly. It feels like it was so long ago, right? Anyways, y'all know he found a way to message me. You know how they be giving them iPads or whatever they be giving them so they can text people and harass them outside of the jail? And that's exactly what he did. Well, I wake up one morning to 3 different notifications to my email. I look at my email and I see it's from this jail account. And I'm like, oh my God. I log into the account because I had an account from when he was locked up a year ago. And I open this account and I'm looking at the account and I'm seeing the inbox and I'm reading these messages. And the first statement already had me fucked up. The first line said, I don't want you to think I need you because I don't. The fuck is you writing me for? You could have not wrote me. I don't even give a fuck what else he said on that message, because the fuck is you starting with me? The fuck, you ain't got nobody to contact. You ain't got nobody to harass. I am the only motherfucker you can hit up and bother. Dude. Again, prioritize. You guys, the fuck, how you get locked up when you think you need to hit somebody else to talk shit to them? I ain't message you. I ain't call you. You messaged me telling me I don't want you to think I need you, because I don't. Clearly you do. Clearly you do, because you go on to say in the message that you need me to message your aunt or hit up your aunt or contact your aunt so that way she can go ahead and drop her address so you can have somewhere to go and stay and blah, blah, blah. You should have messaged her, because, see, you need her. Like you said, you don't need me. So why the fuck did you message me? So that already put a bad taste in my mouth. I look at the next two messages, and I can't remember what they said. He was bringing up old stuff from when I was arguing with him. You know, the backdoor episode? That was him, right? He bringing up that situation and justifying this and justifying that. I'm like, I'm not doing this with you, dude. I'm not. So I responded to him, because he even was trying to say, like, oh, the case is wrong and he was not supposed to be arrested or searched, and they throwing it all out, and he getting out and all this other crap. And I messaged him, and I was like, man, I read your affidavit. I don't know what you're talking about. Honestly, I don't even remember what all I told him. Basically, I just let him know, like, from the real, like, I don't know what you messaging me for. I'll reach out to your peoples for you, but I don't know what you want from me. We not even on them type of terms. You said what you said. You felt how you felt. I still feel the same way. I have not changed that feeling just because you're locked up. And like I told him, I was like, be careful who you piss on, because just like now when you down and out and you need somebody, look who you hitting up. The bitch you don't even fuck with. The bitch you talked all that shit to. And here I am, right here, messaging you back just to let you know, nigga, be careful. Be the fuck careful. Stop taking people for granted and appreciate those who are there for you when they are there for you. All right? And then you won't be sitting in this situation, eating humble pie, wondering how you going to get out of jail and how you going to bond out and where the hell you going to go when they release you, because you done shitted on everybody. You wouldn't have to worry about that. If you treat people the way you're supposed to fucking treat them, you won't have to worry about that. Oof. Girl, I got pissed off. Now I keep saying I ain't gonna talk about that situation. Every time I talk about that situation, I get mad, because what the fuck? I had to pause for a second and really just collect my thoughts, because I really was gonna let myself go all out, and I'm glad I didn't. I didn't need to. He doesn't get that energy from me, because even after that message, he messaged me like 3 more messages. You think I opened them? No, because they told me I had to put credits on my account to do that. Bitch, I'm not paying no money to sit up here and argue with you. You ain't my nigga. We made that clear already. We're not fucking with each other. We made that clear already. There's nothing that has changed. Only thing that has changed is your residence. You now live at 33rd. So because you now live at a public facility, that is the only thing that has changed. But our dynamic has not changed. How I feel has not changed. And quite frankly, you lost me on the first line in the first message. So you really wasn't going to get much from me anyways. You probably should have left that at the end if you was trying to get something out of me or trying to get me to be nice. Yeah, you should have started off the right way. Because, bitch, fuck you. Fuck you. And the horse you rode in on. Fuck you and the dope you're smoking. Fuck you and your probation. Fuck you and your court case. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Not today, Satan. Not today, neck. Not today, ankles. We don't have it.
Okay, so basically, for this segment, the gay shit segment, where we talk about gay shit, right? There is some things, well, not even some things. It was a slight discussion I want to touch on in this segment. Basically, how I saw a tweet. It's going all over gay Twitter, of course. And basically, the tweet is just basically, it says, I fear tops are an endangered species, as in tops are going extinct, as in there's no strict tops, no real tops. Everybody is a bottom now. And my frustration with that is this. That is bullshit. There are plenty tops and there are plenty bottoms. There is so much dick around here. How can you ever say there's no tops? Now, when someone says there are no tops or tops are an endangered species, what they're trying to really say, let me let you know what they're really saying. They're saying this. There's no tops that fit the description and the definition of what I deem to be a top. There's no one that I feel that is attracted to me Hear me out. Attracted to me that I feel is a top. Now, here's something that I have a problem with. What you're asking for is not a top. A top is someone who just simply tops and prefers to top another. As in, they prefer to take their dick and stick it in someone else. They do not want a dick to go in them. They are the giver, not the receiver. Straightforward, right? Somehow we have decided a top has to be someone who's trade, someone who, wears the boxes out of the gas station, smoke black and mild. A top is somebody who got a deep voice, you know what I mean? Talk like this, shawty, what's up, nigga? Yeah, bro, what's up? No cap, all that shit like that. Yeah, got me fucked up, nigga. Like, that's supposed to be a top, right? That's what they deem a top. They don't see a top as someone who's nerdy or soft-spoken or feminine even. You know what I mean? It comes down to sometimes they don't see them as a top because they're feminine. They always say, I'm not going to let a femme climb my back. Okay, so now you're adding qualifications and requirements to be a top. Now, here's the question. Do you meet the requirements and the qualifications to be a bottom? You see how dumb that sounds? I don't see anyone around here saying a bottom has to be this. I don't see anyone saying there's not enough bottoms. You know why? Because whoever is a bottom, they just want to take dick. They're not trying to meet a fucking quota. There's so many different types of bottoms, and we allow that. But when it comes to tops, you have to appeal a certain way. And it's crazy because even as a child, it's why I went into the bottom lane so early on, because I felt like, I must don't meet the requirements to be a top. I don't look like what a top is supposed to look like. My dick ain't big enough to be a top. I really felt insecure about myself. And it took me getting older to realize tops come in all different type of shapes, sizes, colors, vibes, all that. Tops are different than what we have claimed them to be. They're more than that. Like, they're more than the image. Well, not even more than the image. They're less than the image. They're really just somebody who just wants to top somebody. And in other communities, I don't think we have this much discussion as we do in the black gay community. I don't think there's no white gays out there saying there's no tops. I haven't seen that discussion had because they don't care. You go to a white club, you'll never know who's a top and who's a bottom. You will be wrong 99% of the time. You go to a black club, I'm be honest with you, you wouldn't know who's going to be a top or a bottom there either. But there's a stigma there. I don't want to appear as a bottom. It's shame. It's, I'm a bottom. Everybody going to judge me. That's stupid as fuck. You're just taking dick and somebody else is giving dick. I mean, really. That's why I love being verse, because honestly, I don't have to live with that strict guideline to how I'm supposed to be. Like, there's no agenda or the fact that I said there's no agenda. There's no like verse guideline or rule book to be a verse. Some people try to make it one, but it's really just simple as I like dick and I like ass. A top is just somebody that like ass. A bottom is just somebody that like dick. Now, we do have other formalities to that, but none of that has to do with stereotypes. None of that has to do with image or how they're perceived or any of that. So when y'all say tops are going to stink, you sound dumb as fuck, because what you're saying is the tops that I want, that I think are supposed to be tops, don't want me. And that is a you problem, not a gay problem. A you problem, not an everybody problem. A you problem, not a community problem. A you problem. You, and motherfucking you. Yeah, it's such a frustrating, honestly, it's such a frustrating topic, because it does trigger something in me, because it's like me being verse. When I go to a setting, if I go to a sex party, if I go to a bathhouse, sometimes there are more tops than there's bottoms. Sometimes there's more bottoms than there's tops. But everyone's just wearing a towel. You can't really tell. And it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. Find somebody that you attracted to and go from there. It's really that simple. And I think they've made so many algebra and geometric and trigonometry equations to this that they've made it so complicated that it seems like there's no tops, because oh my gosh, if you can't be a top and you can't also eat watermelon, and you can't be a top if you do this, and you can't be a top if you do that. It's just so fucking draining. And I would hate to be a top, because my God, y'all can't do a fuck thing and be a top. You can't twerk and be a top. You can't be fashionable and be a top. You can't go to red dress run and be a top. You can't wear a thong and be a top. You can't wear a jock strap and be a top. You can't love your body and love your ass and show it off and be a top. You see what I mean? You can't sound flamboyant and be a top. You can't be feminine, soft-spoken. You can't do none of those fucking things and be a top in our world. And that's just the dumbest shit I've ever heard of. But hey, to each his own. We're going to we're going to talk about a relationship of mine that I haven't talked about, or I ever talk about. I guess you could say the time when I proposed too. This is the one I proposed to, y'all. So I guess this is really the one I really, really, really gotta touch on. So, all right. So way back in the day, back in MySpace days, back when we were still trying to be somebody's top A, we was all trying to put 1K behind our name, or, we was all calling ourselves Breezy. I was calling myself K Breezy. Oh my gosh. Like, yeah, back in those days, right? I met a guy who was also extremely popular on there. He used to do graphic design on there. And everybody knew, like, back then you wanted your picture to get graphic design. You wanted to have the effects on your page. You wanted all that shit, right? And I knew somebody that did it. And so me and him got acquainted. His name was Shaq. And we got comfortable with each other, got to know each other as friends, right? For a long time. And of course, we started flirting, messaging each other, and I come to find out he lived in the Bahamas. He didn't even live in Orlando or Florida at all. He lived in the Bahamas at the time. So me being in high school, meeting a guy in the Bahamas, I was kind of like, okay, well, I'm a dad that. So I dated it. It wasn't something I pursued anymore. It wasn't something I was trying to, advance with, because it wasn't nothing to take serious. Fast forward, I end up with Mikey. Fast forward past that. You know how that go. We ain't got into that story yet, but you'll know eventually. So basically, we kind of lost contact. I started dating Mikey, and while dating Mikey joined this gay family. This gay family was called the Mullahs, and they was all over Facebook. Everybody knew them. They were so popular. Everybody that was popular just happened to be a part of the new gay family. It was really, really weird in high school. Like, I wasn't really feeling them, because it made me feel like, you guys are weird. You guys all just jumped into a gay family just to be the popular gay family. All you guys already have gay families. You guys are all just popular Facebook gays that just hopped up on one family together. Cool. They made a group. They made a Facebook group, and everything just feeling very elitist and thinking they were the best of the best. And my boyfriend was a part of that. So, get into that. So, with that being said, Shaq also ended up in this. Mind you, I had lost contact with Shaq. I had got older. I was no longer on MySpace. I was now on Facebook. And here I go running into this guy I'm seeing on Facebook, who I'm seeing, who knows my boyfriend, and contacted him and messaged him. And I'm just like, I know him. I know Shaq. At the time, he was going by PJ, but I knew him as Shaq. And so as I'm looking here, I see here, and I'm like, oh shit, I know who this dude is. And so eventually, without Mikey knowing, me and Shaq get acquainted. We start messaging each other on Facebook. We start becoming cool. We're having a lot of conversations, and one thing led to another. We're flirting a lot, and then eventually I cut it off, because I'm like, I'm in a relationship. I shouldn't be flirting with this guy. But this is a guy I've been crushing on since MySpace days. Mind you, he was attractive. He had a really nice abs. I loved it. A nice smile. He did graphic design, so he was kind of talented. He was kind of cool. He was different. He was nothing like the guys I knew around. He wasn't some hood dude who was some thug or fit the description of a trade. He was just a regular guy who was into fashion and photography. Cool. different for me. I wasn't big on fashion or photography at the time. I wasn't big on design or anything like that. I was not into all that. He was into that. And meeting him during that time was a good time because eventually, a few months later, who would have known me and Mikey was going to break up? So me and Mikey break up. And during this time, I'm going through some transitional points where I'm just talking to people and just trying to get to know people. And in meeting this guy, I find out he has a friend who starts dating my best friend at the time. And so my best friend is dating his friend. So me and the dude start kicking it or whatever. Dude invites me to a weekend get together, sleepover with him, my best friend, and my best friend's dude now, and his homegirl and her girlfriend. So I agree to go because I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be a great wingman of my best friend. I'm going to go. He wants me to come because he wants to go spend time with this dude. He don't want to go by himself. Fine, I'll come along. So I go. And so I'm spending time with the dude I'm with, Kenny, and I'm not really feeling him like that. Like, we don't have that type of... Me and Kenny met at a time and point where I was just, like, very vulnerable, you know? Had just got out of a relationship and wasn't really sure who I was into or if I was into anybody, to be honest, and I wasn't really into anybody. And what ended up happening was Kenny goes and says, while I'm at the party or sleepover or whatever you want to call it, he says, I got a friend coming over. Do you know this person named PJ? I look and I'm like, PJ? And I'm like, oh, that's Shaq. I'm like, yeah, I know him. He cool. He was like, yeah, can you come over too? I'm like, sure, why not? So he comes through and immediately, like maybe 10 minutes within Shaq being there, he brings up Mikey. He asks me, where's Mikey? He doesn't realize me and Mikey had broken up at this point. We had been broken up for maybe like a month. And I'm telling him all about the breakup. I'm telling him about what happened. And me and Shaq just go on just talking for like hours, just enjoying each other's presence. Like, I was so glad he came because honestly, I was bummed out, bored. I wasn't into my friend like my best friend was into his dude. You know what I mean? So I was kind of just there just because my friend wanted me to be there. I didn't really want to be there. And when Shaq came, I finally livened up. I felt comfortable. I was talking to him. I was engaging with him. Kenny was in his feelings. Apparently, they say the party vibe was turned down because of that. Shaq eventually had to leave because I guess the vibe was changed or whatever. And so Shaq had to leave, so he did. And when he left, me and him just kept in contact. And we started hanging out. We went on a few dates. And from there, he met my mom. Next thing you know is June 1st, 2012. June 1st, 2012. And I asked him if he wanted to make this official. He said, sure. At the time, it was very romantic. He's crying. We kiss. And from there, that was the chapter. It started from there. Now, mind you, I should have noticed the red flag in the beginning. Because listen, mind you, I asked him, you want to be official? He said, sure. Why not? Not a definite response. Not a confident response. Not a response that tells me you want this as much as I want this. And mind you, I was rebounding. From my ex. My ex was in another relationship, and I wanted to be in one too. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I wanted to be in one too, and why not be in one with one? Why not be in a relationship with someone I'm attracted to, who I've had a crush on, who I'm familiar with in a semi way, and friends with? Simple, easy, straightforward. And that's what we did. And from there, me and Shaq, our lives became joint at that point. Like, everything we did together. And eventually, I moved out my mom's house, moved in with him in his apartment. I still had my own apartment on the east side, but I wanted to live at his house. So I was basically living at both until he eventually convinced me, like, dude, you're paying rent to stay at my house, but you're paying rent for another apartment. Just stay over here with me. So I should never put oil on my face. It's making my nose and my face so itchy, and it's stressing me the fuck out. I keep scratching my face, and I'm trying not to. And you guys probably gonna notice, and I'm probably thinking I'm doing coke or something. I never did anything like that. Nothing has ever gone up my nose. But yeah, you're probably like, why the hell you keep scratching his face? And I can't help it, you know? But anyways, back to the story. Where the fuck am I at? So I move in with him and everything's going great. Like, honestly, we've gotten to know each other so well at this point. It's going on a year at this point. We're in love. Like, he broke me down in ways that I didn't expect he would be able to, because he was a person that was able to get away from the hood. You know what I mean? Get away from the ghetto life, get away from everything I knew growing up. All the toxic relationships. We never cursed at each other. We never got out of line with each other. You know, we really was trying to be a very good standing couple who honestly were in love. We were. And in the beginning, it was great. But there was a few things that I had overlooked that festered over time. One main thing being, on one day I came to hang with him at a friend's house. We went to the pool and everything. That same weekend, when I was hanging over there at the pool with him and the dude was seeing how in love we were, when I was gone, he was asking Shaq for sex. And Shaq had sex with him, but Shaq kept that secret from me for so long. So many months. He waited like 6 to 8 months before he told me, because he thought if he told me at the time, I would have broke up with him. I wouldn't have broken up with him because we weren't together yet when it happened. But it caused me not to trust him, because you carried this lie for so long. And I forgot how I found out, but you carried this lie for so long. And I think I probably found out by going through his phone, because that's something I started doing while I was with him deeply. You kept that lie up for so long that it made me start looking at you differently. And that's when I started noticing all the signs. Here's a few things. He's DL, right? He's in the closet. He's quote unquote bi. Never saw him with a female, but he's quote unquote bi. So don't cancel me for that, but I still don't believe he's bi. He was quote unquote bi. He was DL. He was non-religious, but grew up in a religious home because he grew up in the Bahamas. So his family did not know anything about his sexuality. They didn't know anything about his love life, anything about his social life. They really didn't know anything about him, period, because he left the country to come here. He was being taken care of by his family. His family paid his rent. They paid for his school, education. He was just going to college and just getting degrees and not doing nothing with them. He had got a marketing degree, didn't do nothing with that. Got a graphic design degree, didn't do nothing with that. He was just out here just living a free life. So we lived a different life. I came from a struggle type of environment. I'm adopted. I was in a foster care. I, have drug history in my family, alcohol abuse, domestic violence, all that. That's the type of childhood I grew up in. That's history I have in my back pocket. That's my background. Whereas his background is not the same. It's a suburban, nerdy emo boy who turned skater boy who doesn't really have a lot of connection to his blackness. So as those things started festering, the more and more I realized how much of a liar he was, the more I realized how manipulative he was when it came to his image, or how deceitful he was and how he would keep things from me. And at all times I was always wondering, who the fuck am I with? And on top of all that, he was no longer affectionate. The guy he was in the beginning was no longer the guy he was. We would be in the apartment for hours at a time and never speak. And first it was cool, but it became the norm. We went a year without having sex. Let that sit with you. I didn't cheat on him at the time. He didn't cheat on me. And yet, we weren't even having sex. We weren't affectionate with each other. We weren't physical with each other. We just didn't connect. We did not connect where we needed to connect at. And that was a huge fucking issue for me. A huge issue for me. It really was. And although with him, while I was in college, it was a time for me to explore certain things. So because of him, I got into modeling. Because of him, I started doing different photography things and getting into that. And really advancing my creative headspace, trying different things. Trying to learn more, educate myself more. He caught me at a time when I was going into college and I was finally ready to take my academics serious. Finally really ready to learn and expand my knowledge and really be something different than what I was. But a lot of times I felt myself trying to keep up with appearances and meet his identity and fall in line with who I was supposed to be with him. And a lot of times he would always say, I don't think you're yourself. I don't think you're yourself around me. I think you're not who you really want to be because of me. I think I change you, or I bring a different side of you out, or you're not who you really want to be. And maybe I was hiding. Back then I didn't drink. Back then I didn't smoke. But also I didn't go out. I didn't have no friends. I had no social life. My social life was him. I wasn't on social media. I wasn't doing none of that. It was just him, and me watching TV. And my life was so dead and so boring and so lifeless at that time that I started looking for any excitement. And that's how I found sex parties. We found sex parties together. That's how we got involved with my first threesome. You know, like a lot of those things I did with him for the first time. And it made me realize what I was into and what I liked. And then I started realizing the more things I learned about myself while this time was going on with me growing and changing, the more I realized we had not a lot alike. Like everything that I thought we had alike and in common was something that I created. It was something that I created as an image to adapt to him. It wasn't really me. And I give myself some grace with that because at the time I was still discovering myself. You know, I was fresh out of high school when we started talking, and from there he caught me at a point where I was growing into a man. And we had so many toxic moments. Okay, so basically our relationship started heading for a decline, right? And there was a few things that happened throughout the relationship that really caused the decline. And I kind of gave like a rough draft of how the relationship began. So let's just go through a few of the hiccups that happened during the relationship. One, the main hiccup that I didn't realize was a big issue. Mikey, my first love, which I still have not done an episode on. I keep saying I'm going to do an episode about him. I know you guys keep wondering who the fuck is Mikey. I'm going to get into that. That just has to... I'm not ready to talk about him yet. Okay? Just put it like that. I'm not ready to talk about my first love yet. So, going backwards. So I did the Johnsons. Now I'm doing a relationship before the Johnsons. Then before that, I'm going to talk about Mikey. So, whatever. Mikey was a huge issue because he was someone that, as I mentioned earlier, Shaq was a rebound. And with him being a rebound, I wasn't supposed to be with him long. I was just supposed to be with him long enough to get over Mikey. What happened is, I got comfortable, complacent, and I stayed. We made it to year 3 almost, I believe. Might have been 2.5 years. We got together in 2012, made it to 2015 and broke up. Okay, yeah. Okay, so, yeah, 3 years. So we made it to 3 years. And basically, I met a guy, Leo. He went to the same school. He was also into modeling, also in photography. He was very similar to Shaq in a lot of ways. A lot of people would say that. And I was interested in him. I won't even lie. I was really interested in him. I was attracted to him. I thought he was cute. We had a lot of conversations. And we started talking about, you know, just our feelings. And I had a crush. I was emotionally cheating on Shaq with him. And because of this, Shaq found my phone. He saw the messages and the conversation between us. And we had a serious conversation about it. And we agreed we should break up. He said I wasn't happy. He could tell I wasn't happy. I hadn't been happy for a year. Like when I went through my diary entries for that year of 2014 and 2015, this is how far back this goes. I was not happy. I was miserable in this relationship. We were boring. We didn't go on dates. We didn't have affection. We weren't having sex. I didn't know his family. His family didn't know me. So I couldn't be around his family. I didn't bring him around my family because my family felt he was too judgmental because he looked down on everybody. So it was just our values didn't align. You know what I mean? So we already had the whole issue of Mikey, of me not being completely over him, and Mikey still kind of hovering and lingering through the relationship without even realizing it. We would have arguments, and Shaq would bring up Mikey. Shaq would always say, "You should stay with Mikey. You should get back with him. That's who you really should be with. You shouldn't be with me." Shaq had a lot of insecurity, so a lot of times I had to build him up or make him feel good about himself, so that way he didn't think I felt less about him, because I didn't. But because he always felt so down about himself, I always had to big him up and be more of a supporting factor. And he was very supportive for me too. He helped me with my music. I was rapping at the time. He was designing all my artwork. He did graphic design. He was helping me in other ways as far as school stuff and just life things. He was there for as far as the transitioning of that. And then when that breakup happened, we decided to stay living together. Mind you, we're living together and I'm trying to talk to Leo. He knows about Leo. I'm telling him everything because we're still friends. Because at the end of the day, me and Shaq had a friendship over a relationship. And it became to the point where we became roommates. We had already became roommates in the relationship while we were together. So when we broke up, we just remained roommates. And I was trying to talk to somebody and it didn't really go well. It didn't go anywhere. It just didn't grow into anything. It was never nothing serious, and we just never went further than that. And then Shaq did some things that I felt was a little shysty to me, but honestly, looking back, I didn't have a lot of room to talk. I cheated. We broke up. I had no room to tell him what he can do and what he could not do. He started talking to one of my friends, lied about it. The friend came out to our apartment. I didn't know about it until I saw a picture in his laptop because I was snooping and being an FBI detective. Found a picture in his laptop from an email that he sent, because he would delete stuff out of his phone, but he would send it to his laptop or his email to save it for later or whatever like that. And I went through the email, found the pictures, and saw a bunch of selfies he took with the boy. And I saw that they was taking the selfies out of the apartment. And I'm just sitting there looking at the picture like, this is the same mirror I took a picture in. And it killed me. It killed me. Because even though I was looking for someone else and I was talking to someone else, I wasn't quite ready to let go of that comfort zone I had with Shaq. And seeing him dabble with other people and replace me so easily, yeah, that kind of, that hit me. That affected me in a way I didn't expect it to. And it broke me down. And that was really the demise of our friendship, because slowly but surely we clashed. Eventually, I started doing my own thing. I got more involved into modeling, into Faces modeling troupe, and I took over that more, where he kind of faded into the background. He started doing his own thing on the side. He moved to Tampa, out of the city, and then went from talking every single day or seeing each other all the time to rarely having conversations. And then eventually one day we got into it because he was telling me he was dating a white boy, and for some reason I was upset and offended about it. And I guess it's because the whole time we were together, I always would say, you're going to break up with me and date a white boy, because he was always a black boy that really wanted to be white. Like, no. I'm not even just joking. Like, I'm not trying to be petty or shady or problematic at all. He would process his hair. When I met him, I thought he had a certain texture of hair. And then I realized when I met him, it was all S-curl curated, and that he wasn't, how can I put it like this? He wasn't proud of his brown skin, right? So he started bleaching his skin. And that was another big, red flag for me. And at this time, that was me doing my big pro-black moment, when I was really, like I said, around 2015, it was a transition year for me. We broke up. I started dabbling more into social justice. I started doing more things for myself. I started getting involved with school. I started building my own lane without him. And we started disconnecting, losing whatever brought us together in the beginning. We lost that, And with us losing that, we lost that friendship and that bond and that connective tissue. I guess I got to go back some, right? I got to go back some. So when he moved to Tampa, right, I was still trying to win him back, because although we broke up in 2015, this was 2017 at this point. didn't move out. So, okay. When we broke up in 2015, my story all over the place, y'all. Sorry. When we broke up in 2015, I didn't move out, right? I didn't move out. We stayed roommates for 2 years. We stayed roommates. 2017 was when he moved out. So when he finally was moving out, me and him still stayed in connection. We still talked. We still communicated. We still tried to pursue having something more. I was eventually going to move to Temple too. That was always the goal. And I believed if I proposed to him, that would get him to want to be in a relationship. Because by this point, he didn't want anything to do with me relationship-wise. He would always say, I just want to focus on me right now. I don't need a relationship. I want to focus on me. I don't want a relationship. And I'm like, okay. Well, I'm always ready when you are. So I just sat there, idly waiting. Just waiting, la-da-la-da-la. Whenever you want to, let me know. Which was not good. And I still did it. But basically, I proposed. I went to K Jewelers. I got a ring. I leased a ring, baby. I ain't just buy one. I ain't dropped 10 stacks, but it was a $10K ring, $10,000 ring. And I dropped maybe like $5,000, $7,000 on it, something like that. And I did payment installments on the rest. And when I got this ring for him, it was a big moment. I made a website because he did web design. He did graphic design. So it was my way of trying to show him, look at me doing something that you can do to appeal to you. It was very cute, romantic. I missed that romantic side of me. I wish I still had it. I think it died with that relationship. But because I did all the romantic stuff, you see what I mean? I wasn't supposed to be the one to propose to him. It was supposed to be the other way around. But there I was, proposing to him, doing this grand gesture, and he agreed. We were going to get married. We were going to talk about all this stuff and plan it. 2 of our closest friends passed away in a car accident in Tampa. It was Thanksgiving week. I had just wished them happy Thanksgiving. He was riding with them. They had just dropped him off at home. And on their way home on the highway, they had a head-on collision with somebody else that was, while they were getting off the exit, they were coming on the exit. Going the wrong way. They were going the wrong way, and it hit our friends. And our friends passed away. And that kind of killed any idea of us being engaged. That was the connective tissue between us, was that group of friends we had. And without that group, we really didn't have anything. With him being in Tampa, when he was in Orlando, we already weren't having sex. With him being in Tampa, I just let it go. And we just slowly faded away from that. And by 2018, it had all but disappeared. We still kept a friendship. We still communicated every other day, I guess you could say, every other week. It's some more things that happened towards the end of our relationship, or I guess you could say friendship, or not sure what you can call it, that I have to touch on another episode. It's a little bit more deeper than this. But a lot happened in that year of 2018 after my friends passed, that just a lot of things happened after they passed, period, that just really affected my way of thinking and the way I was living. And I no longer wanted to live by those rules. I started smoking. I started drinking. I started hanging out. I started building my own friend groups. I started getting out more and doing my own thing, meeting other guys, dating, really getting out there and away from him. Because, no shade to him, I had kept myself in the house, hidden, glued, and sheltered to the wall, not allowing myself to go out there and really do what I want to do and live my life and be who I want to be, like he said I should have been doing. So I took that upon myself to do that. And with that being said, with me doing that, it put a line in the sand between us. It was like, okay, this is the life I want to live. That's the life you want to live. We don't want to live it together. We're not together now. You're still living a lie. You're bleaching your skin. You're trying to date my friends. I really just wanted Mikey and I ended up with you. What do we have? Nothing, right? So it ended from there. Like I said, he had a white boyfriend. We got into it. I said, fuck you and your white bitch. And that was the last conversation I ever heard of his voice. That's the last time we ever talked on the phone. I still remember being in that parking lot at work, going off, and him hanging up, and me thinking, we were going to go back to normal. And from there, it was just like, no, we're not talking again. He had nothing he wanted to say to me. He blocked me, and we went on from there. Yeah, he was tired of my antics. My toxicity was showing. The more I started diving into who I was, the more I was getting into who I was and connecting with what I want to do and exploring and going out more, the more we clashed and the more the toxic vibe of myself came out. A lot of my anger came out, a lot of my frustration. So we got in a lot of arguments, things that we never argued before about, things that we never really said to each other, we were saying to each other. And it just got so disgusting that by that point, when I had said that about the white bitch, he was done. And so was I. And then a few months later, I met Jeremiah. So, or Mr. Johnson. So, honestly, truly, yeah, what a time to be alive. My time with Shaq, what I would say is this, because I did try to reach out to him a few years ago, and he basically had nothing to say to me. He basically was like, I don't really have nothing to say. It's been years. You cool. And we just left it at that. He unfollowed me, and I unfollowed him on Twitter, and we left it at that. But he subtweeted me too. Because at first when I messaged him, he didn't respond right away, and I sent the eyes, and he sent a question mark, and I was like, you're not going to say nothing when you talk in years? And he was like, yeah, I know it's been years, we ain't got nothing to talk about. And then he subtweeted me and made a tweet and was like, no response is still a response. I was like, bitch, you trying to be funny? With your egghead ass, bitch, I'll cuss your ass out. I still will cuss him out today because you had me fucked up, because who do you think you are? First off, you don't even know who you are. So how dare you think that it's okay to just cut me off completely? Like I wasn't there through most of your fucking life. But whatever, figure it out. You still trying to figure out who you are. Maybe when I see him now, he'll be 20 shades lighter, because last time I seen him, he had processed hair and curly hair or whatever. When I say processed hair, he had on lace front, baby. But wearing wigs, and you trying to be Redbone, and you was darker than me. Honestly, when it comes down to people like that who don't really love themselves and you're trying to love them, that's the most difficult thing you can do, because they don't know who they are. So how can you love them? And a lot of things I loved about him were superficial. They weren't real. It's kind of fake, surface level, mediocre shit that honestly will only impress the shallow of the shallow. And a lot of things that about him don't impress me now. That stuff impressed me when I was 19. It doesn't impress me now. I'm 33. So although I can thank him for who I am, I can thank him for allowing me the time and the space to figure out who I wanted to be while in that relationship, and giving me somewhere to be comfortable and safe through that healing period for my first relationship. So I look at him as a bridge. I look at him as a relationship that's a bridge in between where I began and where I left off at the end. He's the middle part. He's the safe guy you date after you've been through something to kind of build yourself back up, figure out who you want to be. And then when you're done dating him, you go find the rowdy boy. And that's what I did. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I do miss Shaq. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I miss him. We had some good times. When we did have good times, they were good. We were goofy. We were friends. He brought out the fun side of me, the happy side of me. But he also brought out the articulate side of me, the intellectual in me, the smart guy in me. He challenged my opinion sometimes, and that's something what I truly miss and did not appreciate when I had it. Because nowadays, looking back, I would love to have some conversation with him about stuff that we're not able to talk about because we're in a place of like, I don't want to talk to you. Please don't talk to me. And it's kind of sad because although we were together for 3 years, we lived together for 5. So it's a lot of time to grow with somebody, to learn from somebody, and end up never seeing or speaking with that person ever again. So if you are out there, Shaq, which I'm pretty sure you are, somewhere liking and bookmarking some other foreign twink, I do wish you the best. I hope one day we can have a conversation, become reacquainted, catch up like old times, and rebuild the friendship that we desperately gave up on that we probably shouldn't have. I don't think our friends would want us to not be still in communication, but I understand you have a life you want to live. I have a life I want to live, and our lives just don't meet, and that's okay. So again, I did love you. I did appreciate you. June 1st, 2012 to the end. Well, that just basically sums it all up. Let's end this though, because my wine is getting low. It's the end of the podcast. We talked about everything that we want to talk about. I did say this was going to be a little longer episode. Probably my longest episode I've ever had. Great. I've been shooting for longer episodes now. I do sometimes miss you, Shaq, as a friend. And if you ever get this message and you ever decide to want to pop back up and say, hey, Barbie, I'm alive, I'm cool, I don't bite. All right. And we still good. And I always have a place in my heart for you. Because of you, I learned who I am, who I want to be, who I don't want to be, and who I don't want to be with. All right. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get this on the road. The next episode, not sure what it's going to be. I have a few different options. So we'll see. And eventually down the line, we'll get into Mikey. Mikey Lewis, I'm coming. We'll talk about it one day. And on that note, I did enjoy myself talking to you today. I hope you enjoyed yourself. And if you did, come back next Wednesday. Every Wednesday after that. Tune in to what I got to say. And yeah, just keep linking with Robbie.